along. I need a little bit more. Are you guys excited for the magic battle? All right, well, welcome everybody to sunny and balmy Boston. Yeah. I had to get a bad weather joke in there somewhere. So we have this thing jam-packed full of goodies for you, and rumor has it, there may be a couple of dragons.
What?
Whoa.
So watch out, watch out. But seriously, guys, thank you so much for spending all of that time waiting outside. We were so excited to see you guys when we walked in. Special shout out to our friends on the Twitch stream. Everybody wave hi to the cameras behind you. All right, and watching live from Liverpool, England at the Grand Prix they're having right now, our friends over at GP Liverpool. So big shout out to them. Thank you guys for watching. All right, so who the heck am I? I am Liz Lamb-Farrow. I'm on Magic's brand team. And I'm here as your MC or host of sorts. And on our illustrious panel, to my left, is Doug Beyer, Senior Creative Designer. I went a little bit out of order, I apologize. Dave Humphreys. And Ethan Fleischer, who you might remember from the Great Designer Search 2.
Hi again.
Well, before I ask Doug to walk us through cons and time travel and dragons, oh my, why don't we take a little look at what Sarkhan has going on in Dragons of Tarkir.
Before the dragons died and tipped the scales of history. When I returned to my time, I found you, Ugin, alive. The dragon tempest never ceased. Dragonkind never died out. The Khans fell. And in their place rose 5 elder dragons. The Dragon Lords claimed their rightful place in command of the world. 5 new dragon clans grew around them, forging a new history from the old. This is our world now, Ugin. This is our Tarkir. Where once the clans fought the dragons. Now the dragons and the clans are one. I too have changed. I've thrown aside my own past. I'm a curiosity now, an orphan of time. But now, Tarkir is the world I've always longed for. Now, I fly with dragons.
Doesn't that make you just want to yell, dragons? So, before I ask Doug to walk us through time travel and this whole time travel thing for us, Doug, the real question is, will there be dragons in Dragons of Tarkir?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
I just wanted
Okay.
to...
So, let's take a look at the world of Tarkir as it is now. As you recall, last time we saw Fate Reforged, Sarkhan was heading back to a time when dragons still existed. He had a choice to make. He had an opportunity. He was able to rescue Ugin and change the timeline. So through his actions, possibly even yours at the last pre-release, Ugin was saved. And this caused a ripple effect through history to change the present that we know it. So now, the dragon tempest never died out. These storms that generate dragon after dragon and spawn them into the world never died out. This world now knows the glory of dragons again. Over time, the Khans fell, the clans changed, and now the world is what Sarkhan always hoped for, a world full of dragons. So each clan has organized around one of the dragon lords and is named after that dragon lord. There's Dromoka, who is the green-white dragon clan of endurance. These dragons have impenetrable scales. The warriors of this clan fight in tightly knit groups, even have actual dragon scales on their shields and their armor. And although they don't practice the same spirit magic that the Abzan once did, there is one protective spirit that hangs around. Some have called her Anafenza. So this is the person who was once the Khan in the alternate timeline. Now she is a spirit. She died somewhere through the history, and she still lingers to help out the clan. The blue-white clan of the Ojutai. This is the clan of cunning dragons, mystics, and monks. The monks of this clan seek to learn from their dragon leaders. They learn spells and magic and discipline from them. And one who's learned a special amount of discipline here, says special is a word now, is Narset. In one timeline, she died fighting for Sarkhan. And in this timeline, she is not only alive, but comes back to us in a new form as a planeswalker. Now she can roam the multiverse and seek truth beyond Tarkir. The clan of Silumgar, blue-black, the clan of ruthlessness. Silumgar himself sits on this pile of treasure, and his clan struggles to keep him entertained so that they don't become dinner. They bring him gold, treasure, trinkets, trophies, and undead servants, one of which is the former Khan of the Sultai, Sidisi, the Naga. She is undead in this timeline, and Silumgar keeps her close as a powerful mage. The red-black Kolagon clan. This is the clan of speed with their dragons with 4 wings and lightning breath. The Kolagon clan struggles to keep up with the dragons above them. They move at lightning speed, and they just do their best to ride as fast as they can into battle. You can see Zurgo here in this piece. Zurgo has had a kind of a demotion. He was once the Khan of this clan, and now he rings a bell as his whole job. He's kind of the Biff Tanner of this story. His job now is to alert the rest of the Kolagon warriors when the Kolagon dragons take flight. So it's up to you whether this is a promotion or a demotion. I mean, he's a 2-2 for 1 now. I mean, in some timelines, that's a lot stronger. The Atarka clan, these are a clan whose dragons are huge, fire-breathing monsters with broad antlers. The clan of the Atarka struggles to find enough food because they know that if they don't find enough snacks for their dragons, they become snacks themselves. One that calls hunters to find resources and help them survive is Surak, who in this timeline calls these warriors to them so they can feed Atarka herself. And in one timeline, Surak punched bears. Now, this is Dragons of Tarkir. We're not bear punching here. But there is punching. As the clans battle each other, sometimes the humanoid leaders have to take it upon themselves to take a fang out of enemy dragons when necessary. So, this is the Khan. In any timeline, Surak is up for any kind of epic confrontation. So that's our brief look at Dragons of Tarkir. Now, Sarkhan has undergone a great change. He's traveled through time. He's met with Temur shamans. He has restored Ugin. He's restored dragons to the world. This, for him, is Christmas time. It's the best day of Sarkhan's life.
So, I just want to be clear.
Okay.
I need to know. What you're saying is that there are dragons in Dragons of Tarkir.
Liz, there are tons of dragons.
Like more like a handful?
So many dragons.
Okay. So like I could like more than
Seriously.
Like Stormwing Dragon. All right, so like a lot. Okay, I get it. So Dave Humphreys, developer extraordinaire, we've got some pretty sweet looking dragons. Can you talk to us a little bit about what some of them do?
Yeah, we got a lot of dragons. We have lots of different cycles of 5 dragons. One of our goals is certainly to make sure that they don't all sort of blur together like that last little set of slides. So for starters, we have Megamorph dragons, which Ethan will be talking about that mechanic a little more. So if you're a fan of hidden dragons, this is your chance to get them onto the battlefield before the later turns of the game, and what better way to surprise someone than with a dragon? Also, we have a cycle of monocolor rare dragons that have really impressive effects. For example, this one, which destroys all other creatures on the battlefield. And if that's not enough for you, we still have a lot of other cards in the set that make it really valuable to play with dragons, reward you for having dragons on the battlefield and in your hand. We also have 3 cycles of gold dragons, so if gold is your thing, there's a lot to be found here. We have uncommon rare and mythic rare cycle of dragons. Here's one such example, sort of doing its best to mimic double prowess. And then let's take a look through all the Elder Dragons in case you haven't seen those yet. So starting with Dromoka, she can be a real thorn in the side of both a control deck or an aggressive deck, given that she has lifelink and really shuts down your opponent doing things on your turn.
She's pretty. I like that one.
And as well, we have Kolaghan here, giving, representing speed, giving her whole team speed. And if you're playing against her, just make sure that you take a good look at that last line of text there, or you might end up dead. And here we have Silumgar sporting some Tasigur-themed jewelry. He's very few things are a match for him. When he comes into play, he takes control of any creature or planeswalker. And a Tarka. Where else are you going to see a 8/8 flying trampoline creature other than in red and green? So certainly, Monster of the Skies, dealing 5 damage split among creatures and planeswalkers when she enters the battlefield. So we have 3 new mechanics for our clans. This is actually not a new mechanic in that it's a returning mechanic from Rise of the Eldrazi. It is Rebound. It's certainly meant to pair well with Prowess, given that you can get a Prowess trigger on the turn you play it and on the next turn. Then we have Formidable, which rewards you for having a total of 8 power amongst your creatures. Again, mimicking Ferocious before, where you needed 1 creature with power 4. Now we want you to spread that out, but still have really big, powerful creatures. Here we see Exploit. This is where the Silumgar are getting rid of the weakest of their group to produce very powerful effects, or perhaps getting rid of themselves in a pinch. And also fueling Delve from the earlier parts of the block. Here's a card that's also new to our audience. This is a reminder again that we also have Bolster returning to the Dromoka clan. Again, spreading around +1/+1 counters, building up their weakest rather than sacrificing their weakest. And I should mention here, as you saw with Zurgo earlier, that we have Dash returning to the Kolaghan, again with lots of speedy creatures. Here's another, the final of the Elder Dragons. We didn't forget Ojutai. So Ojutai really representing a lot of things here. You'll note that she has hexproof while, he has hexproof while he's untapped, which means that you can really pick your battles with him when you're ready to get him into combat, ready to protect him with all of your Jeskai or now Ojutai tricks. That you can try to get him through, and if he gets through, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your library and put 1 in your hand. Anybody want to see this card?
Yes.
All right. Don't worry, the rest is coming. But as we've alluded, we have a little blue going on with Sarkhan here. Planeswalkers are often judged on their ability to protect themselves. Perhaps what better way than making red dragons to protect you? If you don't need protection, how about maybe drawing some cards and adding some mana?
Let's just let that sink in for a minute.
I think they like the card, Dave.
Okay.
Maybe that'll help you play all of the dragons.
Should we brace ourselves?
Hold on, people.
Okay, brace yourselves.
It's a dragon set.
Dragon!
How about put all of those dragons into play?
Do you need a minute? Do you need to think about that? Just need a minute to. Oh, Sarkhan. I do love me a man with some scales. Speaking of a man with scales, I didn't have a better transition than that. I'm really sorry.
I like your transitions.
Okay, thanks. Just laugh so I feel better about the transition. Thank you. All right. So, sorry, Ethan. But Ethan, Khan's block has been one of my favorites to draft. Can you tell me a little bit more about this time travel story and how this is going to play out in play formats like Draft and Dragons?
So the whole story of the block is about time travel. It's about a man who goes back in time and changes history. And we wanted to reflect that through gameplay. So the seed of the entire block, the basis, the one thing that we started from was this weird draft format where you open different booster packs at different times during the season. So back when Khans of Tarkir first came out, we were just drafting Khans of Tarkir. It was like any other set. Then we went back in time to Fate Reforged, and we got to see the entire timeline from ancient history all the way up to the present and see the genesis of these clans. But then when Sarkhan went back in time and saved Ugin's life, it changed everything, and we got to Dragons of Tarkir. So now there's a new timeline. You won't be drafting any Khans of Tarkir anymore, just Dragons of Tarkir and Fate Reforged, representing this new altered timeline. Another way that we wanted to depict the time travel story was through game mechanics. So you can see here from Khans of Tarkir, we have Master of Pearls, a card with Morph, and we made a new mechanic called Manifest that was a more primitive, primal version of Morph. This was the magic that Ugin gave to the people of Tarkir to help them be tricky and sneak around and have a chance of competing against the dragons. But in the new timeline, they need to have a little less trickery and a little more size. And so here we have the alternate timeline version of Morph, Megamorph, where the creatures can get bigger, and you can have 3 different states for the creature. The 2/2 face down, or in this case, the 2/1 just cast normally, or cast face down and then flipped up to become a 3/2.
I'm just so excited for pre-release, I can hardly stand myself. I just want to yell dragons every time I go in a dragon.
Which box are you going to take, Liz?
All of them.
I guess that's the perk of working for Wizards of the Coast, we get to take all the boxes.
But I mean, that does bring up a good point, so that when you go to pre-release, March 21st through 22nd, you can choose the aspect of the dragon that you loved from Khans, bring that with you into the pre-release experience. And in your pre-release box, you'll get one of those super pretty spin-down dice that are actually going to be your breath weapons, because for the first time ever, you get to play as a dragon in Dragon Fury. So you'll take your breath weapon, you'll throw it down the board at those petty little creatures in front of you, and then laugh with an evil laugh as you crush your friends' hopes and dreams by scoring more points than they do. Plus, you get the super pretty dice. One could do worse. It's a good day. But I want to shift gears. I want to shift gears down the calendar a little bit to Modern Masters 2015 edition, and I'm thinking you guys are kind of excited about it. Maybe just a little. Well, what I'm most excited about, in addition to the set, is what some folks in the office are saying may be the world's largest face-to-face gaming experience. It could be, we don't know yet. So that's going to be Modern Masters Weekend. So May 29th through 31st, 3 Grand Prix across 3 different continents in Las Vegas, Chiba, Japan, and Utrecht, Netherlands, with coverage streamed around the clock. So no matter where you are in the globe, you can be a part of it just by playing your favorite format of Magic, hosting a viewing party, going to your local game store. It's going to be a big moment for Magic players from all over the globe, and you definitely don't want to miss it. But the big question, Dave, the big question is not if there are dragons in it. That's not what I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask Doug again later. But the big question is what exciting cards are going to make a return in Modern Masters 2015?
Right, so yeah, Modern Masters took a look from 8th edition through Alara Reborn, and there's been a lot of speculation about what's going to be back again. So I'm here to tell you at least one really exciting card. So yeah, some of your favorite cards are back here. Tarmogoyf for one, very frequently seen on modern tables. And we've moved... Now that we've gone a couple years further in time, we have a few more blocks that we're drawing upon. So both Zendikar and Scars of Mirrodin blocks, as well as some cards from Magic 2012 are showing up. So here's one such example, Karn Liberated. And I should also note finally that, you know, again, lots of cool stuff going on for limited, great draft and sealed experiences in this.
Awesome. I'm excited about Modern Masters.
It's going to be super fun.
Super fun. So, hey, time for another awkward transition. Speaking of planeswalkers, those pesky planeswalkers and their sparks.
Concern him.
Come on, laugh. That was better. It was better than Scales. All right.
Laugh, damn you,
So,
laugh.
Magic Origins is coming out in July, but why don't we get a sneak peek at what's in store, and then we'll go to Magic Origins guru Doug Beyer to find out a little bit more about each of these planeswalkers and their stories.
Magic is power. It has the capacity to create and destroy, manipulate and transform. It can shatter the very laws that govern each world. The infinite planes of the multiverse are home to countless mages. Yet for all their mastery over their craft, they are each bound to their own planes of reality, blind to the true vastness of the multiverse. But some mages are born with a potential for more. The spark, this gift realized only upon facing a great ordeal. Once ignited, it allows the mage to travel between planes and draw from each plane's magic to reach heights of power otherwise impossible to achieve. They can begin their journey as a planeswalker.
So the focus of Magic Origins is this moment when these mage characters transition to become planeswalkers. We're going to be able to see that moment when they shifted, when they realized their destinies, and we're going to be able to get in on the ground floor of a grand story that's going forward. Each of these characters is important to the future storyline. They're going to play a role, and we want to see how they started out, what motivated them from the beginning. We're going to be able to see how Gideon changed from being a young street tough to being a champion of justice and of the meek. We're going to get to see Jace's home plane. We're going to see the place that he doesn't even remember he's from and how his mind abilities, his mind magic was used by dark forces against him. We're going to get to see Liliana pre-demonic pact and post. And we'll see how she tried to make her way as a young healer and tried to master the power of death to keep death at bay, and how that really didn't go very well for her. and how she eventually got on a path of necromancy to finally control death. We'll see the young Spunky Chandra when she grew up in a world that did not appreciate her fire magic, and how a tragedy became an opportunity for her to become a great planeswalker and an amazing pyromancer. We're going to see Nissa and how an experience, a traumatic vision occurred to her and opened her mind up to limitless possibilities, allowed her to travel the multiverse. So we're going to get to see all these characters from their crucial moment, that spark moment, and we're going to be able to play through that same moment with them.
So now, Ethan, I know you had a big hand in how the story of these planeswalkers played out in cards. Can you talk us through that and what that's going to look like? And maybe show us a card?
Maybe. So we knew we wanted to tell these very personal stories through gameplay. That's hard to do. A lot of the stuff when we design things, we try to show an environment and show large groups of people, places. We need to get very personal for this one. So we were trying to figure out how can we show on cards how this young healer became this powerful necromancer with armies of the undead at her command. And I did what I often do, which is say something I think is ridiculous and too hard to do, and then everyone else has to do the hard work to implement it. So my idea was, what if we did double-faced cards, like in Innistrad, that are a legendary creature on one side and a planeswalker on the other side? Do you want to see one? Yeah? All right.
I don't know. Did they really want to see it?
Yeah. That guy back there, he doesn't want to see it. All right, well, the rest of these people want to see it, so let's go. All right. So here we have Liliana, the young Liliana in her form as a healer, legendary creature. And this tells the story about how when her brother was dying, she used radical magic that she'd never tried before to try to save his life, and it went horribly wrong, and he became a zombie. This was the traumatic event that caused Liliana's spark to ignite, and she became a planeswalker. So you can see here, one of your creatures is about to die. You can get a zombie token back, and then she planeswalks into the exile zone and returns face down as Liliana, Defiant Necromancer. So she does some very Liliana-ish things. She makes people discard cards. She reanimates creatures. And if you can get her all the way up to her ultimate, the dead will never rest.
So, and that really killer Liliana card, along with each of the other Planeswalker cards in Magic Origins, will be playable for the first time ever in Magic Duels Origins. So we're bringing Planeswalker cards to Duels Origins for the first time. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. So in this edition, you'll be able to play through the origin stories of each of these 5 Planeswalkers. So as you want to see those pivotal moments in each of those characters' stories, you'll be able to play through them right in Duels. Oh, we got mood lighting. All right. Johnny and Liliana, split it up there, getting a little too cozy in front. But on top of that, there's more. Two-Headed Giant is back as a play mode.
I love Two-Headed Giant! Woo!
Two-Headed Giant! Woo! Along with thousands of AI decks, so that means that really and truly, Magic Duels Origins is a limitless play experience. The deck builder's back, you can build decks from scratch, build with archetypes, and the big, woo, lighting's back, all right. And all of the gameplay is 100% earnable. So that means that you can literally play for hours and not pay a cent. So exciting
I like
stuff.
the sound of that.
All right, Magic Duels Origins is coming out in July of 2015. It'll be on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Steam, and iPad. Woo. All right, so with that, we're going to take your questions. So if you can line up at each of these mics right here. So folks, as you're lining up, please note that we do have Sean and Allison from our social media team. They may be popping in with questions from the interwebs. And our friends at GP Liverpool, everybody wave to GP Liverpool again.
Hi, Grand P.
Hi,
Liverpool.
GP Liverpool.
Hello.
All right,
Hi,
so
Rich.
we are going to start here on the front, my left, and please speak directly into the microphone.
Hi, my question is about future draft formats. In the past, we've had like Rise of the Eldrazi and African Restored, where you only drafted the last set when it came out, and now we have Fate Reforged and Dragons of Tarkir being drafted together. But now we'll only have 2 sets in a block. Are we going to see any weird draft formats with that interaction, or is that just going to be standard?
I think it's certainly possible that we could mix it up occasionally, even within the 2 set block paradigm. Or, you know, we don't always have to do 2 set blocks forever. We always have the option to mix it up if it feels like the appropriate thing to do.
Thank you.
All right. To our friend over there with an axe or a sword, I can't see. Oh, now I see. Okay. Scissors.
Hello? Hey, so Doug, I want an answer from you, but an answer to the T, but I want an answer from you from this also. Why isn't Zergo a coward?
Why isn't Zergo a coward? Did we talk about that? It was on the table. So we definitely wanted to change some things about his character. He's still a warrior. He's still a member of the Kolagon clan, and he still fights that clan. He's not, well, he's more cowardly for sure in this timeline than he was in the other one. It was on the table. It just we didn't quite get there to that particular expression of the flavor.
But he's not going to
like
block
the
his
Iron
warrior.
Claw, the Iron Claw text was something I added on as just sort of wanting to put a drawback on a 1-mana 2/2, so which is relatively
Good question.
targeted.
All right, right here.
Hi. So my question has to do with a new and upcoming format, Tiny Leaders. So my question is, do you guys have any plans in the future to make a 3-casting general, which is, what's it called, blue and black? No, blue, black, oh shoot, what's it called? Blue, black, green.
We don't usually design legendary creatures with specific formats in mind, but it's certainly a thing that's on our radar as Tiny Leaders becomes more popular. We're certainly looking for opportunities to support the format.
Hi, my name is Dylan Rippey. Before I ask my question, I would like to thank you guys for starting to introduce characters who are identify across various spectrums, whether it be gender or I don't know how to, I guess, yeah, the mental spectrum as well. I don't know how to put it any other way, but it's nice to see that such a popular game is expressing acceptance and encouraging acceptance all across the various spectrums. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
Now my actual question.
Okay.
Okay, real quick. With the most recent Commander precons, we went back in time and we saw some of the Planeswalkers before the mending and they lost their spark or they changed the way that Planeswalkers work. We haven't even seen Teferi in a long time, and I'm curious what he's been doing for the last couple of millennia. Are there any plans at this point to look back into the Vorthos of those of past planes and just kind of see what they've been doing?
Well, let me ask you this. Is that something you would like to see?
Yeah.
He's making a note. I do have a question from our friends at GP Liverpool. Thanks, Allison, for screening this. Why was Nissa chosen? What's her story? And why was Gideon chosen? Because we got a Johnny staring you down right here in the front row.
That's true. Johnny is giving me the cat eye right now. The reason we chose the characters we chose for Magic Origins is because they have an important role to play in the upcoming storyline. That does not mean that other characters are out of the story at all. We may see other characters that are not in Origins in the future, or we might not, no guarantees. But we chose these in particular because we knew they would play an essential role in in this upcoming story.
Great. All right, our gentleman here in my left, your right.
Hi, Isaac. This is a question for Doug.
Popular fellow today.
Does Bolus know Ugin is alive, and is he mad? Does this play into? Did he have like some deeper plan, and he wanted Sarkhan to go back and save Ugin, or?
I don't think that Bolas has gotten the memo quite yet. Unclear what his reaction would be. We will see. We will see what happens from here on out. We're just starting to scratch the surface of the Dragons of Tarkir storyline, so we're going to see more of the effects of how those changes roll out to the rest of the multiverse, and including how Bolas's intention to kill Ugin might change things. So far, I don't think he knows, no.
So stay tuned.
Does Soren know?
Soren, stay tuned.
All right, I have one more question from our friends at GP Liverpool. What are the lands in Dragons of Tarkir going to be like?
I think we'll have to wait and see.
Is the answer wait and see?
Wait and see.
Okay. Oh, don't look so sad.
I can tell you their art is really cool.
It's really cool.
They're not going to cost any mana.
Well, my question is regarding to Silumgar's jewelry. Will we be seeing a Tasigur card in the Dragons of Tarkir?
Can you repeat that one more time?
My question is regarding Silumgar's jewelry. Will we be seeing a Tasigur card in Dragons of Tarkir?
So Tasigur, his corpse has been magically preserved for over 1,000 years. I think most of the time he spends his days in like some kind of jewelry box or something, brought out for special occasions, like when he's going to get Silumgar's going to get his portrait taken. So I don't think he's really playing into the main storyline. So on Silumgar himself, that's where Tasigur lives in our hearts.
So if you see Allison later on, she actually made herself a Tasigur necklace. It's
That's
really
true.
super
Allison
cute.
is wearing a small dead teenager
We'll put it
from 1,000 years ago around her neck.
Yeah, we'll put a picture of it up on the Twitter later. All right. Yep.
I just have two quick questions. One, are we ever going to see a third set in the Unseries?
Is that? Do you want me to take? I take it that's something you guys would like to see.
I know one person who really wants that to happen. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to see a third unset?
And so another quick question. Is there going to be other creatures like Steamflogger Boss? And maybe we can like do some contraptions? Or is that ever going to happen? Or is that just me?
The thing is, questions about the future are kind of hard for us to answer.
Is that
Thank you for your
something
question.
you'd like to see?
I'll take that. Thanks.
Okay, let's go to our friend in the front.
What do you think is the best planeswalk?
Ooh.
Hey, do you want to come see a Johnny? I think he's got a good answer for you. How old are you, buddy?
Why don't we each talk about which one is our favorite? My favorite is Tezzeret the Seeker.
Tezzeret, who's yours?
I got to go with Sarkhan in this set. So.
Well, I gotta say my favorite's Nissa because she's kind of awesome, and you should wait for Magic Origins. I like Nissa as a character because she's more than just her cards. She's a very deep, rich character.
I'm a Chandra person. Chandra is my girl.
Lily, we love you.
So I'd like to know your favorite planeswalker.
Jace.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Woo. Everybody loves
Good
a
choice,
classic
good
Jace.
choice.
Thanks, dude. All right, right here in the front.
Hey, Doug. Anyone can answer this question, really. What artifact would you bring into real life for yourself?
So what artifact would I bring into real life?
Can it be an artifact creature?
Oh, that's a good question.
Any artifact.
I don't know. The Mirari's tempting. Just wish-granting, power-corrupting artifact that dares you to screw up your entire world with it. That would be high on my list, I think.
I'm gluttonous, and I'm going to say all of them. I just want to take all the artifacts and just mess up everybody's entire board state all the time.
About Darksteel Colossus, just said, want to see what the world could do.
Oh man, what about Power Armor? You could ride around in that one.
That's true. All right, so we did have another question from GP Liverpool. They want to know if time travel if that is impacting any other planes besides Tarkir.
So we're going to go into this more in the coming weeks, but here's the deal. The time travel that Sarkhan underwent on Tarkir definitely affects the timeline of Tarkir. Anything that happens outside the bounds of Tarkir is only affected in that planeswalkers have gone there. So you won't see ripple effects that have to do with this particular time travel change. However, as you might have seen in the video, Sarkhan mentions that he's an orphan of time, that he's an oddity now. Sarkhan wasn't born now. That's kind of weird. So his parents never met in Dragons of Tarkir, and yet here he is. He remembers being born in the Khan's timeline, and yet here he is in a place where his parents never met. So he's just an anomaly now.
With scales.
Yeah, he's also got scales. He's also in 3 colors now. So there's some weird things largely localized around Sarkhan himself. We'll go into this more in the coming weeks.
All right, our friend in the awesome hat.
I'm a big fan of the Penny Arcade pins that you guys do. And I was just curious, what goes into deciding which planeswalker gets to be on the pin? Some of the biggest ones haven't been made yet.
Say that last part again?
Some of the biggest, most popular planeswalkers, like the 2 on the front row, have yet to be made into a pin yet.
So many pins and so many planeswalkers. No, it is a tough call every time. I mean, we as a team we sit down from folks in the brand team with folks on R&D and creative and figure out what the right face to put out is at that time. We always want to make sure that it's lining up with what you guys are seeing in stores and what you're seeing going on in the Magic storyline right now. So that's why you have the awesome Sarkhan on Broken Pin. We love the relationship we have with Penny Arcade. It really brings new life to our characters, and I wouldn't say never to those 2 lovelies being on a pin. So, great question. Front row.
So, given how you're looking back at Planeswalkers and Origins, the way that, in a similar way that you've sort of, well, it makes me think of a lot like the Mending, how you went back several years ago and sort of redid the way that your Planeswalkers worked. I was wondering if Origins is at all similar in that we're perhaps depowering or repowering or at all changing how Planeswalkers work outside of just the cards?
No, this is merely a look at the straightforward origin stories of these characters. So a couple of these characters were actually born before the Mending. Liliana was born pre-Mending. She just was. So she's been around a while. I mean, a long time.
A while, sorry.
But we're not using this as an opportunity to redo the rules regarding Planeswalkers. This is just a look back at the crucial events that made these characters the Planeswalkers they are.
So storytelling about Planeswalkers is going to remain the same?
Yes, storytelling is the main thrust here. So you'll see cards in this set that are not just like the Liliana card you saw there, but also other cards that represent characters and places and important events in Liliana's life and on her path to becoming a Planeswalker.
Thank you.
Over there.
So when Ojutai took over, right, all of the Dragon Slayers were killed. So that would seem to imply that at 0 point in any time at all, Narset had a Dragon Slayer ancestor in 1,000 years. That's a lot of ancestors.
So yeah,
like
there's definitely a bit of poetry to the lineups we wanted to make. We knew that realistically, if you killed a dragon, saved a dragon and had a bunch of other dragons live, that would cause massive changes to the plane. And you're going to see a lot of different changes. But in order to make sure that you felt like you saw how individual changes played out, we wanted to have some of the same characters recur. So you'd be able to, instead of just saying, here's some cons, here are some legends in this set, and then here's a radically different set of people over here, it would be hard to detect that difference, So we did repeat a lot of the characters. Yes, Zurgo was still born. He was still named Zurgo. Yes. So there's a little bit of license there, and the purpose was to help illustrate those correspondences better.
Great.
Hi. So I'm a big fan of like black-aligned heroes and anti-heroes and white-colored villains. Are those still a possibility on the horizon? You don't have to get any specifics, but just if there's still a cool thing you guys can do.
That's something we intend.
Awesome. Okay. I love Soren.
All right, let's kick it over to the right-hand side.
All right, so for the past several blocks, you guys have been doing a really great job with flavor, mostly through the short stories on the Arcana, on the Mothership, those sorts of things. Do you have any plans to compile any of those either into print form or in an ebook form, so you could take an entire plane's worth of short stories and actually have something that you could refer to, that you could pull out and kind of see them all strung together?
That's something we have thought about. Would there be interest in such a thing? So, it's worth investigating. I'm not going to say definitely yes, but we have considered at least an ebook format for gathering up some of the Uncharted Realm stories and flavor bits like that. It's definitely something we've chatted about. There's just a lot of complexities in the way, and we'll have to see. But thanks for the input.
All right, gentleman here on the left.
Hey, I'm a really big fan of the changes to the modern ban list recently, both the bans and the unbans. I think it's interesting that you have a format that you seem to be sort of actively curating with bans and unbans. And I wonder if you're going to plan on maybe experimenting more in the future, maybe being like, we're going to unban the artifact lands for exactly a year. This ban will expire. Well, look, I was going to say Stoneforge Mystic because she's sitting in the back.
She's back!
But please, we got to keep it reasonable. Also, shout out to that Stoneforge.
Mystic, how you doing?
Get her on camera, seriously.
Good to see you, honey.
We miss you.
We miss you.
But yeah, any thoughts of maybe taking a more experimental, like short-term unbans, short-term bans, or just crazy unbanning approach to modern?
In just more general than modern, we've considered more out-of-the-box solutions like that. But in general, again, we're really happy with where modern's at right now. I think if anything, we'd like to be providing stability to modern and, not having people worry about bans. But, as we've shown, if stuff is just making for worse gameplay or making people less likely to want to show up to tournaments, we will take action. But I think right now we don't need much out of the box in terms of, most of our formats are looking really good right now, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't take my question as not faith in you, because you're doing great. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do think that one of the appeals of modern is that you can make a deck and you get to keep playing your favorite deck. And so shaking it up too much makes people unhappy.
Change over here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Tarkir did a lot of things.
Into the microphone.
Tarkir did a lot of things pretty radically with the storyline, with hey, these things can also be Elder Dragons, or hey, time travel can also work like this. When you do something that's, I don't want to say retcon, but maybe something that's different than the patterns that have formed in Magic, when do you decide this is okay to do, or this is the time we're going to do that?
We look at whether there are a sizable enough group of people who would get a kick out of it. So I've been hearing lots of feedback. I get a lot of mail. And there are people who are like, why did you mess with this? Why did you leave? My expertise has been threatened because you've made these changes. I totally get that, and I actually respect that. We also want to hear from the people who haven't been able to own an Elder Dragon that since Legends, the availability. We've seen Magic grow so much. We want to be able to reach out and have cool things for the people who are playing right this second. So we're weighing those things against each other that way. We're always looking to see whether, are we going to anger a couple of people and excite a whole bunch of people? Then it's something we'll definitely consider.
Thank you.
Good question. All right, right over here.
Hi, I just wanted to start out by saying thank you for coming all the way to the East Coast for this.
Oh my gosh. These guys got in at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock last night. And this guy barely made it because he was stuck on the tarmac in DC. So
yeah.
I don't know what kind of snow y'all got here in the Northeast, but it ain't normal.
We're from the weird coast. Sorry.
Yeah, I spent 8 years in Boston, so it's okay.
Well, I had a bigger question and a smaller question. The bigger question is.
Big question.
The bigger question is. Mark Rosewater talks a lot about New World Order on his blog and in his articles, and I was wondering, how does the 2-block structure affect New World Order? Is it going to allow for more or less complexity, or is it just going to waver a little bit?
I believe that New World Order is all about complexity, managing complexity, and I believe that the two-block structure allows us to have a few more mechanics in a year's time than we would otherwise. If we only had one block in a year, we could only have a block's worth of mechanics. And with 2 blocks, we can have 2 blocks worth of mechanics. Maybe not quite as many as we would in the 3-set block, but I think overall it allows us to do more things in a smaller amount of time.
And my tiny question is, with all the talk of planeswalkers, why no love for Tybalt?
Nobody loves Tybalt.
Poor Tybalt. So stylish.
Tybalt's pretty sassy.
He is the swankiest of the planeswalkers.
He is the swankiest, yes.
Yeah.
I
He's
like
very suave.
Tybalt.
So there's your non-answer answer. All right, yes.
So, story question for Doug. It's been established that the title Sarkhan is a title that Sarkhan started going by because of the dragon voice in his head from Ugin, and that his given name was Vol. But in the original timeline before it was changed and he was never born, when he was a member of the clan formerly known as Mardu, what was his war name?
So I don't think he ever took a war name. Sarkhan moved up through the ranks of the Mardu and became a great military leader, and yet he never actually cared about the traditions of his own clan. He never quite fit that well into the Mardu. So, I mean, he called himself something that's kind of heretical, which is Sarkhan, meaning great Khan, which is kind of like saying, I'm the super president. You know, like, that's my name now. I'm just going to call myself super president.
Can I do that?
Yeah, you can, but unless the actual president is in the room. I mean, he takes offense. So there was no actual war name beyond Sarkhan. In a way, that was his naming of himself, is taking that title.
So he had started hearing the voices from Ugin while he was still on Tarkir initially.
Yes, so, wow, time travel. There's a hilarious chart in my cubicle.
It's really funny.
I'll have to share some details of it at some point. It has to do with exactly when he was on the first timeline, the point he went back, and then him zooping back to the present again.
Zooping?
And zooping is a technical chronological term.
Great. So he was hearing dragon voices early enough in the original timeline that he was calling himself Sarkhan while he was still a member of the Mardu clan.
He was hearing, I don't know that he was hearing them before Spark ignited. Boy, let's talk about this afterwards. Yes. I think we can get into the weeds on this one.
Stick around afterwards and we'll talk about that.
Thank you for your question.
All right. Yes, right up here.
Yeah, I just had a question about the core sets. Now that they're all done, are you going to put more planeswalkers in the regular sets? Because usually the core sets had like 5 in them, and now we're just going to have like 1 or 2 per set. Are you going to like kind of compensate?
So are we going to put, the question was, are we going to put more planeswalkers into sets afterwards? It really depends on the story and what the story's calling for at that point. One of the things that's really important to know with Magic Origins is this is the chance to really get to know these 5 characters and follow them for a while, but there may be other planeswalkers that come in and out of that storyline, but you'll have to stay tuned for more to find out.
I mean, I can add that we'll be trying to keep roughly the same number of planeswalkers in Standard, if that helps answer the question as well.
Yeah.
So.
Great.
Thank you.
Over here?
Hey, so as of right now, we have creatures that have 2 types, and actually, could Johnny and Liliana stand up and do like an action pose together?
These guys look awesome. If you haven't seen them yet, can you
They're
two
requesting
stand
an
up?
action pose of you guys.
Action pose, Liliana, Johnny. Isn't it? That's so amazing.
So when are we actually gonna have 2 planeswalkers on the same card?
That's an interesting question. That is something that is technically allowable in the rules. That is, there's something that is, you could put 2 subtypes on a planeswalker card. It's not something we want to do too, one of the issues is that the planeswalker in the art doesn't get to be as much of a star. The frame is actually kind of optimized for a single figure. It's something we have talked about.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hey, I have 2 questions. My first is Nahiri going to become important, and is she even alive still?
You're asking whether Nahiri is alive, and what was your first question again?
Going to become important to the story?
I don't think we've seen the last of Nahiri.
Okay, the second question is, I think on one of those slides I saw Ugin. Is there going to be a second version of him?
Of Ugin? So Ugin's star card was in Fate Reforged. You have now seen the 2 Planeswalker cards in Dragons of Tarkir, Narset and alternate form Sarkhan.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, over here.
The last time you guys did double-faced cards was during Innistrad block. And for drafting an Innistrad block, everybody would get one double-faced card in their pack. Everyone would see what each person's double-faced card was. That was information that was known to everybody. How is that? Are you planning to change anything for Magic Origins with the double-faced Planeswalker cards? Is there going to be a double-faced card in every pack, or is that just going to be the Planeswalkers?
So we don't talk about our how we spread those things out. I would encourage you to play with friends who will play fairly. But then sleeves are a great option for that, depending upon how you're going to end up playing them. So that's always an option. And, you know, I think it's going to be pretty obvious once you have a Planeswalker in your hand because your face is going to just light up and grin quite a bit.
Will you be putting checklists into the packs?
Checklists will be there.
Okay.
Yep. So we have time for one more question, and then we're going to have to end. So to the gentleman on my left.
I'm very lucky.
All right.
Thank you. First thing, you guys are awesome. Second thing, fetches are very controversial, and when you guys were, planning to reprint the old fetches and bring them in, was it a difficult decision for you guys? Because the shuffle time adds to games, but also they're expensive. So.
Yeah, certainly shuffling is a big deal. Shuffling's hard for newer players, something that's easy to lose sight of. Shuffling adds time to, our esports games. It adds time to just matches people are playing. So definitely a big consideration, but, we have to weigh that against the fact that these are cards that we felt like we wanted to make more accessible just to modern players in general and yeah.
Great. All right, well, thank you guys very much. But before you go, one more thing.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you to our friends at GP Liverpool and the Twitchcast. Happy PAX.
Thank you.